Alright, welcome back. As you can see here, I have PowerPoint pulled up, and today we are going to look at animations. Animations are probably one of the coolest things with PowerPoint. You can spend an excessive amount of time editing these animations and making them look just like you want. Um, so you got to be careful when doing animations. You want to make sure that you get all your information on your slides first. You do all your transitions. You proofread it and all that stuff before you start your animations, because animations are really going to take up a large chunk of your time. So let's go ahead and look at them. I'm going to select my second slide here with my mouse picture, and if you notice, I already have the animations tab selected, so you would just click on the animation tabs and it would show up. Right now, all of the icons are grayed out, which indicates that I have not selected anything to give an animation to. I'm going to click on my mouse picture, and you notice as soon as I click on my mouse picture, these icons ungray, and I can now add animations. There are three different types of animations. The first type is your entrance. That's what happens, or how the picture or text box or whatever it is you're adding an animation to appears on the slide. There's this section here called emphasis, which is your picture is on the slide and you want it to do something in order to draw attention to it. Then you have the exit styles, which are how your picture text box exits the slide. And then you have these other options down here, which just give you more things to choose from as far as your animations goes. These motion paths are a little advanced. These are used if you really want to customize exactly how your shape or your picture or whatever it is moves. Then you can click on those motion paths and it'll show you, or you can decide exactly where it's going to go. But we're going to keep it pretty basic here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose an enter, and the way I want it to enter is I'm going to have it bounce. And you can see as soon as I select that, it gives me a little preview of what it's going to look like, and it also, this number 1 appears. This number 1 is there to tell me this is the first animation on the slide. If I click these other ones, you can see that whenever I click them, it gives you a little preview of how that animation is going to look and how long it takes and other things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with bounce. I like that one, bounce on the screen. Now, if you choose, this one doesn't have effects options. Let me go ahead and choose another one so I can show you. I'm going to choose float in. There we go. You see now that this effects options icon is able to be selected. I'm going to click on it, and you can see it gives me two options. I can either float starting up, which is that, or float down. Some of the movement-oriented effect options gives you that effect options tab. This one doesn't. Random bars does. I can do horizontal random bars or vertical random bars. So you want to be sure to check that out whenever you decide to choose an animation. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to bounce because I like that one. Now, I do have one bounce animation on there. Let's say I want to choose another animation to put on there. I would go to this little button right here that says Add Animation, and you can see it gives me an option. Do you want to add this animation to its entrance, to its emphasis, or to its exit? I'm going to go ahead and add an emphasis of teeter. So you can see very subtly, this preview tab lets you see the animations. There's the bounce animation, and there's the teeter animation. So you can see what that animation looks like. And then I'm going to go ahead and add one more animation, the mouse's exit. On this one, I'm going to have him float out of view. So now I have three animations on there. You can see that there's animation 1, animation 2, and animation 3. Normally, these animations will happen when you click the mouse button to move forward. So in order to show you that, I'm going to go ahead and hit F5 to put this into a full screen view. I'm going to click my mouse button. Notice my mouse is not there. Not until I give the trigger, which is clicking the mouse button, will the mouse appear. I'm going to go ahead and click, and there's my animation number 1. If I click again, animation number 2, and when I click one more time, animation number 3 will happen, which is the mouse moving off of the screen. And there's animation number 3. Let's say that I not only wanted to animate that picture, but I also wanted to animate this text. But I want to animate this text to appear after the mouse arrives. So you notice I have animations 1, 2, and 3 here. I'm going to add an animation to this text. Notice if I don't have anything selected, I can't click on anything, but I'm going to click on this text box. I'm going to go to add animation. I could just click from here also, so I can do it either from add animation or just clicking over here. I just want these words to appear. Nothing too fancy, but if you notice, there's a problem. This is the 4th animation in the sequence. I want these words to appear immediately after the mouse arrives. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to click to move to my next slide. Here's animation number 1. What I want is my text to appear on my next click, but that's not going to happen because that's not how the numbers were ordered. My mouse is going to tilt, it's going to disappear, and then the text is going to appear. That's not what I want, so I need to fix that. In order to do that, I'm going to go to the animation pane, and you're going to notice that this thing shows up right here. This gives you the order of how the animations happen. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice that my text box appears last. I'm going to click this, and I'm going to drag this between animations 1 and 2. So now, if you look on my screen, I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's see what that looks like now. Here's my slideshow. I click to go to the next slide. I click for my mouse to appear. I click again. And there we go. My text shows up exactly when I want it to. Now while I'm describing this mouse, I'm going to click, draw emphasis to the picture, and then my mouse is going to disappear off the screen. So that's exactly what I wanted. You can also change what causes that animation to happen. That is called a trigger. So on my animation pane, if I get rid of it, it's a little bit more difficult to do. So when you're changing your trigger, you want to use the animation pane. So I'm going to go to animation pane, click on animation 1, and it gives you a little description of what animation 1 is. Animation 1 is the bounce animation. I'm going to change when that happens. I want that to be on a timer, basically. Let me see, where is that option? There we go, timing. Notice that it is currently set to happen on a click. I want it to happen with previous, and I want a 1 second delay. So what that should do is that should wait 1 second and have that mouse appear as soon as the slide switches. So let's see what happens. I'm going to click F5. Now remember, if I set this up right, my mouse should appear exactly 1 second after I move to my next slide. I'm going to click, I'm going to wait a second, and there he is. So what I've done is I've changed the option. Now I no longer have to click in order to make my mouse appear. He just shows up 1 second after. Now I didn't change the other animations, so if I click, my text shows up. I'm going to click again to show that emphasis, and then I click one more time to make my mouse disappear. So let's go back here. You could change the animations to all rely on timing, but that's extremely difficult. I would really recommend that you stick with the click function. The timing function, if you change that, you really have to have practiced your presentation and got the timing down almost perfectly. There are a couple other things you can do. If you notice, I'm going to click on the the teeter option, which makes him move from side to side. There's this duration button right here, so I can change how long that animation happens. So I'm going to change it from 1 second to 2 seconds. I'm going to click out, and I'm going to click preview to see what that looks like. There's animation 1. And you can notice, well, that happened kind of quick. Let me go into slideshow so we can get a better look. I'm going to click. I'm going to wait my 1 second. My mouse appears. I am going to click again to bring up my text. And notice, this time the mouse is going to teeter for a longer period of time. And there he goes. So, and there's my last animation where he disappears. So you can change quite a few of those options. If you do something a little bit more advanced, like motion paths, I'm going to show you just very, very briefly on how to do that one. Let me go ahead and insert another picture of a mouse here, so that way we can see what it does without hurting our work. Go to Inserts, Online Pictures. Again, we'll choose a small mouse. We'll go ahead and use this one this time instead of the other one. So it's just a silhouette of a mouse. I'm going to go back to my Animations tab. I'm going to choose Fly In. I want him to fly in from a different direction, so I'm going to change the option. Fly in from the left. But this time, I am going to choose Motion Paths and choose a turn. So you see that now he turns, and here, I'm going to move him out of the way for, oh, I can't move him out of the way. But right here is where I can edit the exact path. I'm going to change it for him to move from one side of the screen all the way, let me get that back over there, from one side, from one corner all the way to the other corner. So let's see what that looks like. Now, you can change these kinds of paths to do all kinds of crazy things. You see it starts off with a generic loop. Here's my path. I'm going to make this path take up the entire screen. I'm going to go ahead and preview it. And he has some very interesting movement paths there. So, like I said, this movement path is a very advanced feature. I would recommend that you, for right now, you stay with the ones provided for you. It'll make your life a lot easier until you get really good at using this. Don't forget to save. You can do that by clicking this little purple diskette here, clicking Control S, or going to the File and Save option.